You've been given access to receive messages of clarity, guidance, and love. As channeler, psychotherapist, and author, Noemi Grace has an intimate dialogue with the divine on your behalf. Lisa Berry intuitively listens and expresses the deep questions on people's hearts and elevates the conversation, while Noemi Grace channels divine wisdom and expansive answers to your deepest questions. Each show's themes are related to self-love, self-healing, relationships, and personal struggles, offers tools that will lead to sacred stability and help you find your best solutions. Join us now as we give you access to angels and grace. Oh, hello, everybody. Yes, welcome to Access to Angels and Grace. Good morning. Hello, Noemi.
Hello, Lisa.
I have no idea. It went from, morning to lunch right now.
Yeah, well, yes, exactly. For if you're on Eastern Daylight Savings Time.
Yes, that's so true. Well, you know what, Noemi? I am going to introduce our show topic in a different way today. I'm going to use our show description, but I'm going to break it up because the title and then the first question. So all of our beautiful listeners, you probably will relate. So we titled this "How to Trust Enough to Surrender." And I kind of got stuck on that word today when I read it. I went, whoa, wait a minute, surrender? That sounds like I'm giving in or losing something. But the very next question that we talk about, it says, how can you trust that you won't be harmed when you stop struggling with that thing in your life that feels so hard? And Noemi, when I read that again, I was like, yes, when I stop struggling, that is what surrender is.
Exactly. It's not,
yes,
I'm defeated, I give up, I'll go into a hole and just crawl into there and just not function. It's like recognizing that, choosing even to stop striving, to stop struggling, to stop banging your head against the wall of something that's that hard
really
and
so hard.
not happening. So
Yes. And I thought, wow, this show could fit into all of our lives in so many places. And the next thing we go into, we share, and why we ask, why is it so hard for us to trust, to stop struggling? Because it would make sense if you looked outside and looking and going, well, geez, I'll stop it, stop struggling with that. But what gets in the way, and we have these 4 bullet points, is that we have been taught that it is not safe to trust. So we've got this message just in our head, like, no. Or perhaps we felt betrayed, abandoned, and hurt at times when we have trusted. And so we're like, I'm not going back there again. That didn't work out. And also, we can't trust ourselves because of the choices that we have made in the past. So this isn't even something that we've been told. It's not something we experience, but we are literally judging ourselves and now looking forward, this is the evidence that says, no, I can't do this. And then we have our 4th one, which is we fear that we won't have what we need for a happy and healthy future. And that one's really big to me too, because my goodness, you'd think that if you're struggling against something, you would recognize, well, I'm not happy, I'm struggling. So if I stopped, then that thing wouldn't be there. But there's this trust that we also have to have this happy and healthy future. Like, do you think that we are taught, Noemi, to not trust that we will have a happy and healthy future?
Well, because things in the past haven't turned out the way we wanted them, I think that we've then come to this conclusion that we all have, that we need to control it a little bit more. We've got to be in charge. We've got to make sure that things line up, that things are not going the wrong way. And so when you are controlling, you're not trusting, right? You're not trusting life, the universe, even yourself, because you've got to control it. You've got to me, control, when we get controlling, it's sort of like we're turning the knobs tighter, the screws tighter, we're clamping down on trying to just get it to be satisfactory, to be okay, to be how we want it. And that is guaranteed struggle, right?
Yes, yeah, it's already wound tightly enough, and I love because you just brought up that's the programmings and experiences and fears that we're really
Yes.
up against. It's not the thing that we're struggling against. It's all those. So to move into that
Mm-hmm.
surrender, to receive all the many unexpected gifts, safety, certainty, confidence,
Mm-hmm.
courage. I just love that. So it's the very first question was just such a powerful thing. It's how can we trust that we won't be harmed when we stop struggling against the thing that you feel is so hard in your life? So, big
Yes.
important
And I
show.
yes. Oh, yes, definitely. And I like the title. How can you trust enough to surrender? So it's not this unconditional, I must trust unconditionally. I'll never get there,
Mm,
so I might as well just keep struggling. It's enough. What is
yeah.
what amount of trust is what's needed here? You know, if you trust that
Hmm.
everything's going to if you feel like you need to have trust that everything's going to go right, that's you're not going to be able to have that
Oh,
trust, but if you can trust that you will
yes.
be okay no matter what, that, some people talk about the universe having your back. If you can trust that, if you can trust that, Einstein said that one of the things that's most important is to decide whether the universe is friendly or not. If you can trust that there's a friendly
Mm,
force out there, that life source, however you want to look at it, is friendly and in your favor, that even when we hit the hard things, that there is a force out there, there is a flow out there for us that's positive for us,
I like
that's
that. And
supportive of us.
and the flow also just doesn't like whoosh, there you're flowing. It's if we can trust enough to take one step. It's just one
Mm-hmm.
movement, one little flow, as opposed to the whole down the river, right? We just have to take that time and I love what you just said. I was going to
Right.
comment. Wait, the struggle against is that if we can trust that, yes, the heart, that thing that we're banging our head against and struggling, it's actually not the bad. It's not a bad thing. Where if we stay doing it, it's the bad. It's not the right thing for us to be doing. It's making us unhappy. So if we can also trust to surrender to that thing that has shown up in our life, that situation, and
Mm.
and say, it's not the bad guy here. It's
Right.
something to grow from. Yeah.
Right. And if we look at things as bad, then, I mean, some things don't feel good. We can acknowledge
Right.
that. It doesn't feel good, but if we label it as bad, we are going to want to resist it. We aren't going to want to surrender because, in our understanding of it, this is a bad thing. This is not a good thing for me. And if we can trust that good will come out of the hardest
Mm-hmm.
experiences, that's a great plus.
Yes, I love that. And now I know that the pre-channel is a little bit longer, so I want to make sure that you have lots of room and space and time to do it, to read it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to grab a swig of water.
Oh, that's a
And
good
if this
idea.
is your first time with us, welcome. And also, just want to explain what this pre channeled message is. And this is me sitting with Source and meditating, and then sitting and saying, this is what we're going to talk about in our next show. What do you want us to know? And I never know what's coming forth, what's coming through, but it's always supportive and loving and helpful. So I called this one, so I give it a title of my own. I give it a title of something that's from the message. So, learning to trust. The more that you open your hearts and minds to receive divine love and grace, the easier it is to trust. You have learned to distrust. You have been programmed for your own safety and security to not trust strangers, the unknown, and even the manifestation of your dreams. With this well intentioned training of limiting your trust for your own protection, you have separated yourself from that which is trustworthy through your desire to protect yourself. But distrust is not a protection, it is a means by which you exclude yourself and your vulnerabilities from both what is trustworthy and what is not. The focus on unsafety of trusting does protect you in a sense, but it also limits and confuses you and leaves you unable to determine what is trustworthy and what is not. And this is a detriment to you. Have you ever considered that your lack of trust is a detriment? When you can trust and when you can discern trustworthy from untrustworthy, you open yourself to both greater protection and greater benefit. And in this space of discernment and knowing, surrender becomes easy. You resist surrender for two main reasons: because you can't trust and because you want to control, which all boils down to the lack of trust. When you can't discern trustworthy from untrustworthy, you must protect and you must control. You must try to create safety and the results you want in your life. But what if you could discern? Then would you need to protect and control the way you do? No, you would not. Control and protection have become necessary when you can't be assured that the universe is on your side. Many of you think that at times the universe is conspiring against you, that you're being punished, and we say no to both. When hardships happen, when things don't turn out the way you hoped, no one and nothing is out to get you or make life hard for you or to teach you a lesson. You learn your own lessons when you're ready. Learn this: the universe is here for you and rooting for you, greatly desired of your happiness and fulfillment. Yes, your happiness and fulfillment matters to the universe. It matters to us. And this is made easy when you trust. Then you can let go and you can surrender to the goodness and grace of the universe. And then you can let go of control. Will you release control of your lives to us and allow us to bless you? This doesn't mean that you do nothing and place all responsibility in our hands, but it does mean that you stop pushing against an immovable wall which you erected, not us, for your own protection. But that wall has become a limitation, enabling you to stay stuck inside its confines. Yet, when you surrender, when you choose to stop pushing and fighting, when you have learned the lesson of trust, the wall comes down. And then so much more is available to you that you were keeping at bay by pushing and struggling with what you thought was the universe or other people or their rules or the unfairness of life. But it was actually the wall that you erected to keep yourself safe, which also keeps you small and limited. Yet so much unlimitedness is available to you. Stop pushing. This is the first sign that you are not trusting and you are trying to bend the will of the universe or of others to your own will. Learn to recognize when you're pushing and learn to equate this with shutting off the gifts of the universe. You allow and even encourage the universe to support you and collaborate with you when you choose to let go and release your controlling tendencies. We want you to work together with us. We can't do so when you refuse to let go, when you cling tightly to the need to control and the perceived truth that life is untrustworthy. Learn to trust by letting go of control and learning to discern what is trustworthy and what is not. Then choose to trust life, to trust us, to trust yourself as you align your choices with your discernment. This is always available. Trust is always available, as is discernment. Ask for our help, and we will build a bridge with you that takes you from where you are to where you are, at least partially behind the wall of protection, to where you desire to be and where we desire for you to be, trusting, collaborating with us, and enjoying the many fruits of our collaborative labor, which feels much more like love than struggle. Live in love and flow, or live in struggle. The choice is yours. The outcomes of your choice: ease and flow in manifestation, or pushing and striving to get things done. And the keys are releasing control and developing discernment. To discern, you must be quiet. You must be still. You cannot discern when you're tuned into the chatter of competing voices in your mind. Get still and be willing to let go of what you think is right for you and listen and feel. When you step out of your mind's conflicting messages and listen, you will be surprised at the many gifts you find and how you can feel your way to discernment. How does it feel to choose one thing or another? How does it feel to sit in stillness and be present and discern what your deepest knowing and truth are saying? When you get still, your feelings are a valuable asset that can help you discern. When you can trust your feelings and discernment, then you can trust your knowing and the choices you make based on that knowing. And you can feel safe to surrender and bask in the grace and flow as your life transitions from struggle to grace, from lack to flow and abundance. And we are here to help you every step of the way. Great love. Namaste.
Oh, and just in time because I knew she had to cough. Oh,
Yes, I'm gone.
you go ahead, cough, cough. I'm just going to say this one thing before we go to commercial break. We had chosen a beautiful image for today's show, and it was a brick wall, and there's a hole in it, but it was in the shape of a heart. And that one line in that pre-channeled message there, it was, as more becomes available when you stop struggling. And that really is the heart in the wall, that it's such a brick wall,
Yes.
and then if you can knock out a little bit of a hole in the shape of a heart, it feels more like love.
Like the image on the
Yeah.
Facebook post.
Yes,
The
that
wall
was
with
so
the
perfect.
heart-shaped opening.
Opening, I shouldn't say hole. Yeah, that it's a hole, because we think it's missing something, but it's an open. Oh, that's actually beautiful in and of itself right there. Actually, ooh, let's come back to that. We'll do that when we come back from commercial break. Here we're going to talk about the opening and not the hole.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
This is Kathy Beal, host of Celestial Compass, featuring astrology you can use. Celestial Compass points you to what's going on in the sky and what you can do with it down here on Earth. We also explore fun, effective, and cosmic tools for navigating this adventure we call life. Join me the first and third Monday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for Celestial Compass. It's enlightening, entertaining, and empowering.
If I could be you,
And you could be me
for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
walk a mile in my shoes.
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. Noemi, are you doing okay?
Yeah, I just got this post-nasal drip that was like about 3/4 of the way through, and I'm like, oh, divine, help me to finish before I start hacking.
Oh, you did great.
It's springtime. It's gonna be spring. I can feel the
well,
drip
thank you for the warning. I like that. That's helpful for everybody. We don't need the groundhog. We'll just use you. Oh, I really, there's a few things I wanted to just touch on in that pre-channeled message, and talking about that opening in the wall, and it'd be funny because in the beginning we said it can feel like we're banging our heads against the wall, and I thought of just to have the listeners question even in their own lives, when have you been surprised by gifts of the times when you have trusted? There have been times where I just really didn't feel like trusting, and I didn't have it, but I thought, okay, I have enough. I have enough trust here. I could just do this, and then following through, surrendering, stop struggling, and then this wonderful thing actually came out of it. And I maybe wouldn't have even recognized it then, but looking back in our lives, we can somehow see that, and say that, wow, that was a gift, and I'm glad I trusted.
Yeah. I mean, it's that recognizing that we're holding things, we're pushing, as we're pushing against that wall, we're also pushing away the gifts of the universe, the support, the grace, the
Grace.
flow of abundance and all kinds of beneficial things towards us. So we're pushing at this thing, trying to push it into submission or into a certain position, and yet as we do that, we're pushing away the flow that's coming towards us. It's like we're redirecting the flow. Whoops, no, we're going to send it over there.
Yes, I love that. What was that one? Okay, this was a fun one, and this one might be. Yeah, let's see where this one goes. But when
Okay.
things don't work out for you, no one's out to get you. That is something we can get. That's where we can actually get stuck on. Like, nothing works out to me. The world is out to get me. Nobody's standing in my corner. I'm really alone on this one, and so if somebody's feeling that way, yeah, it's like somebody's out to get me. They really feel like they're the target. Like, oh, I knew it. That was going to happen. There is that something that we are literally bringing upon ourselves if we hold that belief.
Well, beliefs, babies. My sister just had a grandson. And babies come, I mean, over the weekend, after my mother had surgery at the beginning of the week. I mean, it was just seeing the orchestration of the universe as there was a lot of struggling. How is the family going to handle the baby and my mother's surgery? And yet, the baby didn't come out with beliefs. The baby, I mean,
Right.
with the limitation of who can meet the baby, I haven't met the baby yet, but I saw videos and I didn't see any beliefs there except feed me. And there's trust there. You are going to feed me, right?
Yes.
The baby is trusting that it's going to get fed, but sometimes it may not trust so much because it starts to cry. but he started to cry, but it's that trust, that belief is something we've learned. And we have learned it from our parents' beliefs, from the messages they've told us, but from our own what's happened in our lives. We conclude things, and then that, based on those conclusions, we now have assumptions about what's going to happen in the future. So, yes, I mean, you're saying, so are you attracting by holding those beliefs?
Or just
I mean,
creating.
the vibration, the vibration we put out into the universe, right? The law of attraction says that what we put out, we're gonna attract. But so, but I wouldn't then say it's your fault because you had a negative belief that bad things happened in your life, because that's just not the way life works. And so, trusting that something good is going to come out of this.
Yes, I'm laughing so hard right now about babies don't come out with beliefs. That is just so perfect. And what made me think about that is, and yet they have this trust that their needs will be met. And so I'm going to use the word unconscious trust. Just bear with me on this one. That is so neat because we must have this some level of unconscious trust to even be human, to even be alive. We have to trust that our heart's going to beat, that our blood's going to pump, that our lungs are going to exchange air.
Yes, right.
So I wonder if we can start there, just kind of see, well, I must already have some trust in life. I'm here.
Yes. And maybe then expanding that trust. Where else can you trust more? Right? So if there's that big thing in our show description, how can you trust you won't be harmed when you stop struggling with that thing in your life that feels so hard? So maybe you're not ready for that one, but where else can you expand that trust? Yes. You do believe that the breath is going to continue and that your heart's going to pump, and when you get up and your feet are going to move and your body's going to move with it. So yes, where can you expand the trust? Where is it safer? Okay, so where does it feel less unsafe for you to expand the trust?
Oh, I think that's absolutely beautiful. I love that. And what's safer? For a second, I'm just going to write that down because I like that. Where can you expand the trust, and where is it safer to do so? is that what you said? Yes, where is it?
Yes.
So, my question, I think this might be a fun one to have you channel, is
Okay.
your feelings are a valuable asset.
Yes.
That was said in there, and I wanted to have you expand and talk to the Divine a little bit about this. It was specifically relating to where is it safer to expand where you trust, and if your feelings are a valuable asset, how can we tune into our feelings versus our those assumptions and beliefs?
And all that jumble, right? That the last show that we talked about, you have the it was the heart head split, but then it was
Yes.
the feelings. Firstly, you could have lots of messages in the mind, but then the feelings too can be all a jumbled mess. So how do we then kind of discern the true feeling, the truth? What is that feeling that isn't based on those beliefs or the fear? Because the fear then will create, we'll experience some feelings based on the fear. I can't let go of this because it may not work out.
Yes. Yes, I love that. So we'll tighten up the question. How can we use our feelings as assets to discern where it is safer to expand the trust?
That's a great question. I'm writing it down
Yes.
so to jog my memory afterwards,
To discern.
because I don't always come out of. I am. I'm not in a trance or anything like that. I am present as the channelings happen, but I don't always recall all of it because it's just so rich and full, and it's not something that I have pre-thought. So when I speak
Yes.
to people, I often recall the conversation because I'm listening. I've learned to listen as a psychotherapist, but also I'm thinking what am I going to say before I say it. So, but this is not the case here. So, okay, great. It's a great question.
I like it.
So I am just going to try to. I'm going to just turn off my mic for a second.
I'll just repeat that question too. How can we use our feelings as an asset to discern how and where we can expand that safe place to trust?
This is such a great question. So, if this is your first time listening, I apologize, but not in a not in a demeaning way, not in a poor me way, but I seem to have some little allergic stuff going on here. So if you can listen beyond that, all right, listen to the deeper messages that's coming through the divine. And so I'm just going to take a moment to deepen the connection and greet the divine and turn it over to them, and we'll hear what Source has to say. And I'm looking forward to that. So, hello, Divine. So glad to be back here. It feels like forever since we've had the last show. So, so we have this question about how can we use our feelings as that valuable asset to discern where it's safer to trust. Where can we trust more than where we have been trusting? We appreciate this question. It is a deeper question. It is a question that desires understanding, that is based in the desire to understand and then to execute that understanding, to apply that understanding to your life. And so, yes, some places in your life may not be trustworthy. There may be situations and sometimes people, or there may be people that you can trust implicitly on certain things, but not another. You can trust that this friend is not going to rob you, but maybe they won't show up on time. That maybe you can trust that they are not going to take advantage of you financially, but maybe they have an issue with time management. And so you can't trust that. But where can you trust more? And so it is, and why Why should you trust more? Because of those gifts and the support of the universe. Wherever you are untrusting, you are erecting that wall and pushing us away unintentionally, of course, but you are pushing at something which also pushes us away. And so why trust more? You'll receive more. You will be happier. You will benefit, and you'll be surprised at how things are working out in a way that you could not have imagined. Where at first they might seem like, oh, this is not working out. And then the gift comes through later, and an opportunity, or you've meet someone, or something happens that you could not have preconceived, and without that preconception, and now you are benefiting. You find that there is something wonderful for you. And so to trust more, you need to get silent more. We can't emphasize this enough. Silence is not, that is the internal state in the womb. It is the internal state that you have lost, that silence, that ability to get silent. And as you get silent, voices, all the voices and the agitated feelings, they start to subside. And you can see what resonates, what feels good to you. See, control doesn't really feel good. It feels necessary. It is thought of as necessary. And you control is the anticipation of feeling good in the future when everything goes the way you want it to, when everything goes the way you need it to, because you have been programmed to believe you need this. You need that person to do this for you. You need your boss to give you that assignment. You need to lose that weight. You need this. And this is the beliefs that you have. This is what you have been programmed and what you have embraced. And so all of that control is not allowing the gift. All of that control is that assumption, is that you are believing that you will get the gift in the future, but there's a gift for you right now. And so can you get silent? Can you get more silent than you've been? And if you can't, ask for our help. We live in the silence that is harmonious and resonant. We are eternally silent yet harmonious, silent yet resonant. And so we are here for you. We're here to help you with that. Getting silent is a skill that you can cultivate. It is a skill that you have lost. Every human being can get silent. Many believe that you can't be silent, that there's too much noise in your head, there's too many conflicting feelings. But silence is your birthright, and in silence so many gems are sparkling there that you can't see with all of the noise that is hiding the gems. So asking for our help and letting yourself let go. Stop clutching to what you think is the right thing. Put it on the shelf for a bit. What if there was something more for you? What if there is something here for you that you can't see because you're hanging on to this thing? Be willing to let it go for a minute. Let go of the thought. Ask for our help if you can't. Ask for our help and we will help you. This help will be instantaneous. We are here for you, always. No, we are not punishing you. We are not teaching you a lesson. As we said earlier, you learn your own lessons when you're ready. And we are here offering you support and love and guidance and grace and so many gifts. Think about that. Remember, the gifts are here, but you're pushing away at them. Ask for our help in getting silent. Cultivate the practice of meditation. It will help you immensely. And if you're practicing, go deeper. Ask for our help to go deeper. There's always a deeper level of stillness that's available. And in that stillness, everything is clear. We love you so much. We want you to learn to trust yourselves through this discernment, through your feelings, through being able to feel what feels so right for you, and letting go of all those beliefs and those preconceived notions. We are here to support you always. In great love, we are complete. Namaste.
Oh, that was absolutely helpful and beautiful. I'm going to recap this. The one thing that a little bit of a funny thing. But first, when Divine and you said, get silent. We can't stress this enough. I was like, oh, come on. We're not doing the silent treatment again. Not the treatment, but the silence again. And then it was so perfect
Silent
because
treatment.
because I went, as soon as I went to get silent, no, because then I'm going to hear all those voices. And that's exactly what Divine said. You're going to hear those agitated voices and they're going to start to subside. And I was walking through that. Okay. And then you said, see what resonates and what feels good. And I was like, okay, I'm getting there. And then you topped it off with controlling doesn't feel good. I'm like, that's right, it doesn't. And then I came to, which this is where the gift is, when we are controlling, we're actually living by those beliefs and conditions. And that is not the flow. And I now see being controlling as something totally different than I've ever saw before because of this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I like there was something about when you're controlling, you're believing in that you're going to have some future benefit. It's going to work out the way you want it and life is going to feel good, but the benefits are here now. The gifts are here now. You're believing, you have this belief that if you can control it enough, so it works out the way you want it to, the way you need it to, that you're going to receive some gifts, some benefit. And yet there are gifts and benefits available here and now, but we push them away through controlling.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Controlling is attachment and an expectation to a benefit that you think is the right thing for you. And maybe it might be, but you're so right now. There's all these things that you might have the blinders on and missing out on, like maybe there was 10 things here. Oh, very juicy. We're going to sneak away to commercial break, but when we come back, I know we're going to hear one more channeled message and see how the divine can help us through just trusting enough to surrender. Thank you, everybody. Access to Angels and Grace.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Oh, all righty. I love this access. I have to say thank you, Noemi. The access to the angels and grace is just a gift that we all can tune into, but it's helpful when you are showing us how to do this and just offering it. So I want to say thank you.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. And all of this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for you really getting that intuitive hit, an intuitive knowing that this would be, that together we could offer something that would be of great value. So.
Aw, see, that's that trust. I didn't know what I was asking either, but it felt good. It felt good. See, I choose and it felt good. There we go.
There you go. So
I'd
that's
like
how
to
you
come,
knew.
exactly, yes. And I'd like to go to our, what a feeling, I felt guided to look back at the bullet points that we have here. It's funny calling them bullet points because I put hearts on them. It's when, when there's an opening, we're like, okay, I can do this, I can feel this. I'm drawn to why it's hard to sometimes when we feel betrayed, abandoned, and hurt at times when we have trusted. Should we ever look back and say, was I really betrayed, abandoned, or hurt? Or do we acknowledge that, yes, we felt that way at that time? And try, I guess my question is, I'm feeling is how to heal that. Is it to go back and say, well, you weren't really, I wasn't really, or to go back and say, you might have been, but I still love myself. Like, so I'm asking, yeah, I guess that's the question there.
Well, isn't that last one so lovely? You might have been, but I still love myself. I mean, okay, so the reason to go back and look at something is to learn from it. Not never to beat ourselves up, to put ourselves down, but is to learn from that. Okay, you were betrayed, abandoned, whatever. And were there ever any, did you ever have a sense that you couldn't trust in the situation? Did you ever have that gut feeling of like, ooh, not so sure, but oh, yes, but this person is perfect on paper, so I will date them. And you get that gut feeling of, not so sure, So where have we not paid attention or ignored the discernment that we did have? Because we get a lot, we really do have I would say the majority of us more discernment than we think we do, but we just don't listen as often as would benefit us.
Yes, I like that. And you know why? Because we do get ourselves distracted. We start asking other people about their opinions and what should I do, or we just ignore it and we go on our way and we dive into a project. Maybe it's just cleaning, you become obsessed with something, particular that really takes us away from hearing that discernment and loving it and trusting. Yeah, because trusting the discernment is trusting in ourselves.
Yes, because where does that discernment come? From ourselves, from our inner being, our inner truth, inner knowing. So, yes. So it's to learn that how we didn't. And, I shared the story last time when I took this job at this self-esteem Boston place that I was I fell in love with the idea of it, and I was really inspired by the founder. And it was just such a bad match because I was driving all over creation and had no place to go, and in between groups, and yet she said it wasn't a mistake. We all took a risk, and I remember that to this day. It's like, okay, so you took a risk. I mean, I didn't have anything screaming, don't do it, but I kind of did go, can I do all this driving? But I thought, for this cause, I will drive to the end of the earth. And then I realized, no, I don't like driving like that. So
yes, you reminded me of a story that I'm going to share quickly, and it's very similar to that, because we have something that's so a calling, like wow, this is so perfect. This will fulfill me because I'm so called that it's needed and it's thing. And I volunteered to clean cat litter boxes at a rescue center. And it was actually a fella that opened this up, and I was like, absolutely, I can clean 50 litter boxes every day. Up for sure I can.
50 litter boxes? Oh my.
And I thought, well, because this would be hard. Like, he has to do it. If I don't come and help, he's got nobody. He's got to do it. That's not fair of me. Like, I really owned this immediate job that this guy's already been doing for 20 years. And when I did it, I actually, it was so... the dust, from the litter and the urine, it was really uncomfortable. And I kept having this guilt, like going, if you quit, Lisa, you're just making somebody else do it. I'm like, yeah, but it was his job first. I had the conversation going back and forth and back and forth. And I was like, they need their litter boxes done. And I was like, but he will do it. But I was, and it was really a difficult thing to listen to Am I being selfish? Am I being lazy? And it was real. I was very It was very judgmental. And that story is actually literally going to bring up this question. I would love to hear the channeling on this one. Is that just like with your story, that some things don't line up. It's not a mistake, and it's not a thing that you try to do it. But how do we, like, when you're really torn like that? I really did leave. I don't want to say I abandoned and quit, but I really did not continue that job. And
Yeah.
I cried, of course, but I also was really happy. I'm like, oh, thank God. But that's an interesting one. How do we forgive ourselves when we do trust, when it hurts? When it hurts.
Say that. How do we forgive ourselves when?
How do when we follow our trust and surrender, when we follow that discernment and we hear it, but it still hurts.
Yeah, so we follow what feels right in the moment, right? With a feeling, going to that feeling of being the valuable asset. I felt really inspired, and you felt like really passionate, and so we follow this feeling, and it doesn't work out. Um, so when we follow what feels like the best thing and it doesn't work out,
that, like, my heart
and
hurts
to
seeing
not
that.
become guilty.
Yes, the guilt, the shame, the abandonment, the, like, knowing that you're still right, but it was like, ooh, kind painful.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean that the choice you made was wrong for you. Just like the choice I made, where that woman was so gracious that she said we all took a risk. It was not a mistake. When I left her this message, I've made a horrible mistake. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience, and she's like, we took a risk. It wasn't a mistake. We knew that there could potentially be some gold here, so we took the risk.
Yes, and that's okay. This is going to be really good for channeling now, because now here you have an example of how that turned out for you. And I'll be very honest. You know how it ended up for me when I told the fellow that I couldn't do it anymore. He just looked at me and he said, "Yeah, most of them don't last," and that was it. So I walked
And
away
how
with
did
a
you
really.
take that?
Oh, that's what I mean. I cried. Oh, I was so painful. I thought, oh, wow, so many people have abandoned him and quit, and I just failed too. And I'm just like, and he did. There was no. It's okay. Nothing. It was just he turned his back and continued working because he has a job to do, and I didn't realize that actually still hurt a little bit right now. Yeah, I think that would be something. How would we? I would love some guidance on that, some access to some grace on this one. When we know we've done what we need to do, when it does hurt, and when we don't get it's okay, and we have to move on and still continue to trust in our thing, and how to still love ourselves.
Wow. Whew, okay. I see the time, so let me just get in there. That is all. I'm going to stop writing because there's so much in that question, and the divine will speak to the portion thereof that they want to speak to. So, give me a second. Okay. And we are inspired by this question. Yes, we are inspired. Noemi Grace said, inspired? You? Yes, we are inspired by this question. When you ask those deeper questions, it inspires us that you want to go deeper, that you want more freedom, that you want that liberation, that you want to understand and have the knowing. And we're here to help you. And so you have been taught cause and effect. If you followed what felt like the best choice, your best intuition, and it didn't work the way you envisioned, you have been taught to blame yourself. The cause must be that you made a bad choice. The cause must be within you, because this effect that happened is that things did not work out according to your plan, that maybe they worked out even painfully, that you felt badly, you felt guilty, you felt abandoned, betrayed, all of the emotions, the negative, as you call them, the negative emotional states. You felt those things, and you are now feeling that the only source, the reason that happened is because you made the bad choice. And when will you make a better choice? And why did you make the bad choice? Why didn't you find the right choice? Why? And perhaps none of that is at all what's going on. Just when you make the best choice that you know how to make in the moment you learn from it. You either learn that, wow, I trusted and I was connected and resonant and it works, or you learn, I trusted, but I didn't see this thing. And you learn that there's more for you to grow in the trust, to grow in the understanding and the intuition, the knowing of what is best for you. You make a choice based on where you are. You don't know that you are not going to enjoy more than 1 or 2 litter boxes. You don't know that that will make you anxious and allergic and uncomfortable. You don't know these things until you step forward. And so we are not going to deprive you of the learning that comes from your experience, because you discover deeper about truths about yourself, deeper understanding of yourself. And so it is okay. We are telling you it is okay to make a choice that doesn't pan out if you got still, if you got silent, if you listened and you felt that this was the best choice. It's okay to make that choice and not have it pan out, because you get to learn something about yourself. Not about yourself in a negative way, but about yourself in an understanding way. Oh, you love cats, but you don't love those litter boxes. Okay, well, now you know. If you were petting the cats, that might have been a different scenario. You might have totally enjoyed that. And so you learn things about yourself that you didn't know. Be willing to learn. Be curious. See the learning that occurs when things don't work out. Be willing to learn that. Look for that learning. Oh, I felt so inspired by this choice. I felt this was the right choice and it didn't work out. What is here for me to learn? Be willing to ask that question. What is here for me to learn, to benefit me, to deepen me, my understanding of me, and my ability to make the choices that serve me? Learning to be that person that can, this is the person who finds the silver lining, but not because they're looking for some kind of panacea or some gold pot at the end of the rainbow, but it is because they recognize that there's always the opportunity for learning, and that learning is gold. That learning that is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That is what will deepen you, your knowing of you, and deepen your experience of you and of life. We want you to free yourselves, to be liberated. Stop beating yourselves up. We cannot say this enough. We love you so much. We are always here for you. Each one of you can ask for our help. In great love, we are complete. Namaste.
Oh, Jude, thank you so much. First of all, I feel like that was definitely a personal share to me, but
yes, well, yes, I kept bringing you up. So
yes, and you know what I love? Don't deprive yourself of the learning by regretting, following your intuition. And you know what? I just thought, do you know what I learned in that moment when I did that? That can you imagine if I didn't have that experience, but then I started rescuing cats, and then I had 50 litter boxes, but then I couldn't do that, and I would have let 50 cats down like that. So that was a beautiful experience for me, and it needed to perhaps be a little harsh or whatnot. So it really, I was like, ooh, yeah, don't jump into something. Just try it out perhaps first and see how you like that. That was an opportunity for me to experience that and give it a shot. So, well, how about that?
Yes. And it's that they said, be curious. Be curious about what is here for me to learn. I like that question.
Yes.
Because and I often ask that. Sometimes I don't feel like it. I'm just like disappointed and I'm not going to ask, but I usually say, I often will be, okay, what's here for me? There's what's the gift in this? And so it's we put so much expectation on ourselves. We trusted, we had the good, I was so excited about this job that I was telling everybody, I'm going to do this and I'm going to help women and I'm going to help, under people that don't have the privilege that I do in my life they don't have the assets, they don't have the things that will support them. And I was inspired and I learned. Okay. I learned that it was a risk. I took a risk and there's nothing wrong with that. And It was 1 week of my life and 1 week of theirs. And, I realized it wasn't working. And what was really good for me to see is I realized it wasn't working and I did something about it, because I'm the one that often will just continue. It's not working, but oh well, it might work out. Let me give it more time. Let me give it more time. Let me continue,
Yes. Well, what I got from that, I'll close off with this one, is that when you make the best choice in the moment, you learn from it regardless of the outcome. And I hope that helps everybody how to trust enough to surrender, because that was this.
I
whole
love that.
flow.
And it's like the best choice in the moment is not necessarily the one that works out best according to your expectation.
Exactly. Well, everybody, thank you so much, listeners.
See you in 2 weeks.
And Divine. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.